Some of y'all are getting ready to go out of your way to misunderstand what I'm saying and tell me to shut up because I'm taking away a victim's voice, and that's not what's happening. I understand that there's levels to victimhood, and it doesn't always involve penetration and hospitalization as it did with many of us. I get that. I don't want to take away their voices. They all made valid points with their stories. With Christian Keys, something happened to that man, period, hard stop, not doubting him. That's not what I'm complaining about. Lizzo's background dancers, 1000%, worked in a toxic, inappropriate environment like most of us do. Their stories are very familiar. I went through this in regular corporate America. So that's not what I'm talking about. With Giselle, I have a suspicion that she is a survivor of something. So I'm going to grant her grace in another video and explain what I'm talking about. But the Chris thing, that was attention whoring. I want you to know that when us regular people are going to report, especially regular women are going to report what happened to them, the patriarchy is so mad about the Me Too movement and us calling them out that now they're doing this thing to where when you go in to report a crime, they tell you, we don't believe you. I think you're filing a false report, and they put you in jail and give you a criminal record. So what I'm saying is be clear and concise and responsible when you're a celebrity, if you're attached to a celebrity, because your words carry weight and you can expect for people to weigh in. What's up, brownies? I'm coming to you not as a content creator, but as a survivor because it's after 2 a.m. and for the fourth day in a row, I cannot sleep. You all have to be very careful with telling these half stories, half truths, nuances is not what really happened, but it's all about the way it made me feel type stories, because not only does it trigger real victims, but it takes away from the stories of real victims because you all are either celebrities or attached to one. Now, I do understand that there are levels to victimhood, but I'm going to play these clips back to back to back, and then I will come back and explain why I'm making this video.
There's been many times in my life where I've been propositioned to get a huge role. I've lost my agency because I went to the hotel room, which I can't believe they would send me to, of a very prominent Oscar award-winning director who showed up in his robe, asked me to take my clothes off and said he needed to take Polaroids of me, and that if I did X, Y, and Z, I would be the next Marvel character. I didn't do that, and my agency fired me. A lot of my other male friends have gone through with both men and women in this industry.
So my man is speaking the absolute truth. When I first got here to LA or Hollywood, I experienced a lot of that from some higher up female execs and some men. You know, hey, I gotta cast this tonight. Like, okay, I can meet you at Starbucks in the morning. No, it's gotta be tonight. I'm not coming there tonight. I wouldn't be there till 1. That's not professional or appropriate. Ain't nothing open but legs at 1 in the morning. You sure? Yeah, I'm sure. Are you sure? Meaning, you sure you're gonna walk away from this opportunity that could make your career? Yes, I'm sure. Sometimes you have to take the scenic route, take the long way around. That way, you can carry your integrity with you. And some of these same people have trouble looking you in the eye to this very day. And they were multiple people. I'm not messy, I'm not gonna go into names, but it happened. I was able to walk away from these opportunities, this money, this vehicle, this place to stay.
You don't get to walk past somebody and be like, oh, that's nice, and pat them on their private.
Nah, that absolutely wasn't Cheryl Pepsi Riley. Please don't do that. That's my heart. I love her to the moon and back. She's a consummate professional. That second, are you sure, means if you don't stay and do what I want, you're not going to get what you're hoping for. Now, this particular guy is out here paying tuition for entire classes of HBCUs. That was around the time that I was considering going back to Michigan, 08, 09, because work was slow and the work that was coming was offered with a side of penis.
So for the time frame that he gave where he was about to just quit the industry and give up and go, he said it was around 2008, 2009. I lied. I got to interrupt it right here because I just recorded this clip and I got to get this off my chest. When black women, especially the darker you are, when we come out and we say things about rich and powerful black men, it's always, you're lying, you're doing this for clout. Why now? If this happened a long time ago, this is a money grab. This is what we are met with automatically. Christian Keys is not getting any of this smoke. He's automatically believed, and he's a hero for speaking out against the Hollywood machine. Everybody knows this about Hollywood, so he didn't give any new information because he didn't name any names. And I'm going to tell you this. When you look back at how those little girls who spoke out on R. Kelly were treated, they were fast, you asking for it, nasty little girls just trying to get their career off the ground, all of this type of stuff. Go back and look at how people condemned the victims when they're black women, especially if they're of a darker hue, to protect a sexual deviant, rich and powerful black man. Go back and look at how they did Anita Hill when she was speaking out against Clarence Thomas, and Desiree Washington when she was talking about Mike Tyson. They crucified her. And this is black men and women. We always protect black men, even when they are as wrong as two left shoes. And it's time that we stop this, especially within our own families, because many black women have to sit at the dinner table with their abusers at Christmas and Thanksgiving, at family reunions, because nobody wants to put that uncle in jail, or don't put our family business out in the street. They're going to think that we all act like that as a family. What happens in our family is family business, and it stays within this house. We are not protected anywhere.
Were these demands or suggestions made, were they direct, or was it more, I'm afraid if I don't, I might get fired?
There was like this always looming feeling of thinking that if you didn't do something or you didn't adhere to certain suggestions or demands, that your job could be in jeopardy. So right off the bat, we kind of already felt like the energy was shifting. Somebody from her management team saying that the way that we had been acting was unprofessional, and the attitudes that we were exhibiting on the job was unacceptable, and that it could be grounds for termination. And that's just one specific instance.
There is so many instances where dancers who did have fun with her go along with like what she was doing and, be down for anything, that they were favored, they were hired for more shows, they were invited on, like private jets and to do cool things, and, could hang out with her in like tropical settings like Hawaii. We had in our minds that if we weren't, down for anything, that we would then be ostracized later. It was this unspoken thing in the camp that if you weren't super fun, like if you like skipped out on all of the like outings and all that stuff, that you wouldn't be seen in good favor.
It was a more intense meeting with her, just emphasizing the fact that she wasn't pleased with our performing and that we still weren't dancing up to her standards.
That I had felt for a really long time that they were questioning my abilities due to weight gain. It was never explicitly said, hey, you're gaining weight, your job is in jeopardy. It was never that. It was very nuanced. It was very under the rug. And I think that language was used to keep from being canceled. Previously, she had said she was worried about me at South by Southwest. And when I was at South by Southwest, that was the first time I had showed up to a Lizzo event or gig, noticeably having gained weight. There was nothing different about me. My performance skills were the same. My demeanor was the same. My energy was the same. The only thing that was different about me was my weight. And in this meeting, she stated as well that, dancers get fired for gaining weight. And then she kind of paused and looked at me, and I still don't know if she really meant to single me out in that moment. But when she looked at me and she said that, I was kind of like, so she's really concerned about my weight. So I ended up telling them that I struggle with, anxiety and depression, and that I'm in recovery from an eating disorder.
I'm uncomfortable. I'm in a hotel room with a married man, and it is his word against mine as to what's happening in this room. How would go from conversation in the room, his word against yours? You and Chris are friends. Me and Chris are friends. Did he touch you? He did not touch me. Did he did not say. Did you feel like the fact that it was happening? What I do remember was saying to myself, I don't feel good, and I want him to leave. And I said, can you see if they're ready for me to come back or whatever? Did he do it? He immediately left. There we go.
Now watch Karen tell her how this could have been handled better.
You could have said it without the cameras. Right. You could have said it without us knowing or bringing it to the entire group. I didn't bring it to the entire group. Who brought it to the group? Robin Dixon.
He didn't say anything inappropriate. He didn't touch her. He literally just asked to have a private conversation.
Let me just start off with Giselle. It was a complete lie. It was unnecessary. You were wrong, dead wrong. Nothing happened to you. Stop it. For Lizzo's dancers, fire your attorney. This interview ruined your case. If I were a judge, I'd completely throw it out. If it made it to a jury, then there's no way that I would reward you anything. But also for Lizzo's countersuit, because this actually did do a lot of harm to her reputation, I would grant her whatever it is that she's asking for. Everything that you all said it was unspoken. Well, I assumed, you just kind of knew. Well, I felt like that maybe, if possibly, other people were treated better. It sounds like you were mad that you missed out on the vacations and the special treatment. That Lizzo actually thought that she had some friends and she invited you all along to do fun stuff that was maybe a bit risque after work and outside of the business hours, and you had a choice whether to participate or not, and the reasons that you were fired were performance-based. As for Christian, you talked about God a lot, but let me tell you one thing that I know. God is not the author of confusion, and what you're doing is confusing people. First and foremost, you took the time to stop and say that it was not Cheryl Pepsi Riley. That means that you could have done that for any of the other names and suggestions that people were throwing out. You made a choice not to. And then you followed that up by interjecting with the whole, no, I didn't watch the documentary. What documentary were you talking about? Let's be for real. There are less than 800 billionaires in America. Of that less than 800, probably about 20 of them are Black. The vast majority of the so-called Black ones are not Black Americans. They're like Africans. When you eliminate the Africans and then using the other context clues that you gave, I do not see any way in the world that this could possibly not be Tyler Perry and Robert Smith. There are dozens of content creators that are putting out videos that saying you cleared Tyler Perry's name when you liked that tweet. You didn't. You could have been liking it for a number of reasons. If you really wanted to clear Tyler Perry's name or anybody else's name, you would make it plain in the same way that you did for Cheryl. When you tried this 7 months ago and it didn't get the reaction that you had hoped, definitely didn't go viral like this. You said that you were not going to name names. Now you come back with better lighting, light skin, lip licking, pregnant pauses, dramatic gestures. Not saying that this was scripted or anything, because you actually do look like somebody that's in pain and turmoil and that's disturbed by something. I know that look. The only critique I'm giving you is how you're going about it. You are allowing people's reputation to burn in the ashes if people are naming or guessing the wrong person, but more specifically, by not naming who the predator is, the other people in the industry don't know who to watch out for. Not only are you not preventing future victims, you're actually complicit in the actions by keeping silent and protecting the identities of the predators. There's no doubt in anybody's mind, just from the reputation of Hollywood in general, but also by the fact that you are a very attractive man, that men and women have tried you. So we're not saying that it didn't happen. The critique is how you're going about this. And what I really want you to consider is, especially with the whole, I didn't watch the documentary. You didn't have to know that Tyler is an actual victim and survivor. I want you to consider what this is doing to him and how he's triggered if you're actually not talking about him. You're going to have to clear this one up, brother. You're better than this.